that I need to be like, oh, I need to work on my patience, you know.
Yes.
Wait, I can't get so upset when, you know, my child gets upset, you know. Oh, she's upset again. No, I can't do that. You know, it's like, what is her need? Kind of, am I putting myself first, or, you know?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And also, one thing that we have to remember, mistakes are going to happen. If we want to show our kids that we are perfect, they're going to learn that they are perfect, or they can make mistakes.
Yeah.
They need to learn that we make mistakes. Oops, they're going to make mistakes. So I think for me that's so important, because I think we don't want to be criticized, but the reality is we are not perfect. The only thing we need to be is good enough as parents, and you know, all this stuff. This is good talk.
No, it's true. And now that you said that, and you had brought una charla like a couple months ago, and you had mentioned something about that, and I had told you about something that happened, an incident that happened between my daughter and I.
Oh yes.
I was doing her hair, and she's like, "Mom, it hurts, it hurts." I'm like, "No, it's just, you know, I'm not." I was doing her hair, you know. All the little girls, they think it's the end of the world when you're combing their hair.
You see that brush coming? They run the other way.
It's terrible, you know. And I'm like, no, it's just a blower. I have it on medium. Just, you know, suck it up. Exactly that. I said, you know, stop crying. Suck it up. I dealt with it when I was a little girl, you know. You're fine. You're exaggerating. Those were my words. And then finally, my husband's like, but Ariana, you know, it's probably hurting her. And I'm like, no, it's not hurting her. You can deal with it. You can deal with it. Finally, I had done her hair, whatever. The next day, I was like, let me try it. I could not hold the pain. And I just started to cry.
Oh my God.
Because I'm like, the torture I just put her through. You know, and I went straight to my husband like, oh my God, it hurts. I can't deal with this. And he goes, oh my God, see? And he got so mad at me. He's like, you were putting her through this. See, she was crying for real. You know, and I'm like, I went straight to her and I said, Sienna, I am so sorry. She goes, for what, Mom? You know, they're so innocent. She had just totally forgotten about that. But I said, yesterday when I did your hair, I made you cry. And I didn't acknowledge your feelings. I just told you to, you know, and I spoke to her as an adult. You know, I went straight to her and I said, and I just want to apologize because I didn't care about that. And I didn't acknowledge those feelings that you were truly hurting.
Yeah.
And I said, I promise that next time I do another style, I'll do it on myself first. Because, you know, or if I'm doing it, I will, and you said it hurts, you know, I will try and do something else.
Yeah.
You know, I apologized to her and I gave her a hug and I said, like, it showed me that I was way too harsh on her. And so it's very true.
Yeah. And something real quick that I want to mention as an example, when Merari's here with the kids, I always see that when the babies start crying or getting fussy, her husband or herself gets out of church, or you and your husband. And that for me, you know, it caught my attention because I said, they're going out. But then I'm thinking back to the information we're sharing. You know, the baby's crying, uncomfortable, fussy, maybe the baby's wet, maybe it's hungry. You see, all of these things that you have to take under consideration. Some other people will know, shut up, quiet.
Yeah.
You know, and it's a baby.
Yeah. There's a need. If he's crying,
Yes.
there's a need, something.
Maybe it's too noisy for him. You know, it's just a lot of elements that we have to take under consideration. But sadly, some people don't think about the children. Think about, you know, their needs first. I think after, you know, if a message I want to send out is your child needs are first, and then your needs.
Yeah. And like, you know, these are great examples of we're going to make mistakes because I've made them and I've cried. I'm like, man, I can't believe I did that. You know, I remember like a couple days ago I was crying. I was like, you know, I'm not a good parent because, you know, I go extreme. But but like Ariana brought up a point that, you know, I hold true to my heart, and it's to apologize. You know, I'll tell my daughter, you know, Chloe, I'm sorry. You know, for this and that. Do you forgive me? She's like, yeah. And it seems silly, you know, the way they respond. But as they get older, they're going to remember. My mom apologized for the mistakes that she made. You know, because sometimes some kids, all they want is an apology when they're older.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. And I think culturally speaking, parents, they're not supposed to say, I'm sorry. But I think for me, my son is 18 years old, and sometimes I'm like, oh my God, if I knew what I know now, why, you know? But then I had still apologizing, and he sometimes said, whatever, mom. But I'm like, I want to apologize because I think it's important for him to know that I'm really sorry, that I made a mistake.
And that's a good point, that it doesn't matter how old your child is. It doesn't matter if they're a little kid, if they're an adult. You know, if you approach them and say, you know, I want to apologize for this, it'll be amazing the change you'll bring to your relationship.
I think every child, even for, I'm 43 and I want to be validated. Like sometimes I just need like, I'm sorry. And I'm the happiest woman in the world.
Yeah.
But
no, and it's true. And I've also taught my daughter like that incident where she's like, Mommy, it's okay. You don't have to apologize. And I corrected her right there. I was like, no, Sienna. Because, you know, I remember that chala that you have brought. And I said, no. I said, it's not okay. Like, it wasn't okay for me not to acknowledge your feelings. I'm like, you have to acknowledge each other's feelings. Like, if you hurt me, I'm going to tell you that you hurt me.
Yeah.
So I'm telling you that I hurt your feelings and I didn't, you know, I didn't care for them at the moment. I didn't listen to you. So, you know, I want to apologize. She goes, Mommy, it's okay. You know, they're kids.
So
you know?
naive,
No, and that's actually, you know, it makes me think of, you know, at work with my students, that's very important because if you're teaching your daughter how to, you know, acknowledge somebody's feelings, accept an apology, you know, some of the issues we see in school are kids having conflicts with each other. And because they can't communicate, you know, they can't say, you know, this is what I felt. You know, I accept your apology. You know, it's a lot of the, you know, behavioral issues or inappropriate behaviors we see. It's because there is a lack of ability in communication. They don't know how to do it.
That's why it's important to teach kids or children to name that need, to name that feeling.
Yeah.
Like I work for United Services, and we use this. It's like a little magnet with few faces of feelings, and I think all my clients has one. It's like a magnet. I have one in my house. Every morning I wake up, I go downstairs, make my coffee, and change my little emoji, how I feel. And my son and my husband laugh at me, but I want to make a point. I have feelings. I'm not always happy. I'm not always sad, you know. And I think kids need to learn. Like I have kids that they don't even know how they feel, and then when I go with that magnet and their faces, they are able to point, I'm upset. And then we start the conversation. And then some parents tell me, oh, but he don't have nothing to be upset about. He has everything. I'm like, let him talk, you know, and that's how conversation starts. So it's really important to teach our kids to learn about emotions and put a name to a feeling.
That's a good idea to use, you know, if you're struggling how to communicate with your child. You know, that's a good idea to do. To use emoji faces with the magnets in the refrigerator and show them, like, have them show you how they're feeling. Yeah. And then maybe that's like an icebreaker, like an conversation opener where you can have that communication with each other.
Even with kids with delay on, like, speech delays, how you call it? I don't want to say pictures, but like pictures, I think. Visuals help them a lot because they can point, and I think that's a good idea.
And if we think like we always have our cell phone on us, you know, have it, you know, as a picture on your phone, so you can say, you know, if your child is so upset they don't want to talk, have them point to a picture, and little things like that automatically bring their like frustration, whatever they're feeling, it brings it down because part of their focus is now on the picture. Or you can also say, you know, are you feeling angry, sad? Like, you give them options. You know, are you angry? Are you sad? It's not you know, give them options when you're asking them questions too, you know.
That's a really that's a good idea.
Another thing I want to mention that you made me think of is when you're talking to your child, don't do it in front of an audience. You know, don't do it around people, don't do it around other kids, because at that moment, they're not thinking, what is my parent saying to me? They're saying, I need to save face. I need to, you know, be tough, you know, in this situation. So when you take them out of the environment, speak to them privately, that also, you know, relaxes them to speak to you. And at least, you know, I'm a teacher, and, you know, I've been teaching 12 years. And for the past, I would say 2 years, I've been doing that. I'd say, can you see, you know, I would continue my class, have the kids do something, and they're like, okay, you know, so-and-so, can you see me outside for a second? you know, and then I would tell them, you know, what's going on, and you would see the difference of like angry face to like, you know, it's very different. So also, speak to them privately. Don't do things in front of other people because they're not thinking about what you're saying.
No, I know. They feel embarrassed, ashamed, and I learned that with my 6-year-old now. I would sometimes yell out, or his dad would yell out at him in front of the rest, especially their brothers, and he would get so mad, he would just start crying. And like, but why are you crying? Why are you crying? It's like I didn't say nothing. It's just because he was embarrassed that you did it in front of everybody else.
Yeah.
So from that point, I started, you know, each one taking them to the side, and another thing is not down. I have learned
Eye
to
level.
get down to their eye
Good
level.
Yes.
Because I was, you know, I saw on Facebook they're always posting these flyers, and I saw one where there's a head, and then there's like the kid down like this, the kid's in the floor, and the person's like yelling, and there's like words, and it just spoke to me like, wow, that looks so bad. So I pictured myself, is that how I look? You know, when I'm yelling at my kid, like,
I think it's, you know, like I used to work with preschoolers, and I think it's so important to get their attention. So you go to the level, make eye contact, and make sure that this child is really looking at you and listening to you. That's why you say, can you repeat what I said to you? I don't know. Even my 18-year-old, can you repeat what I said? No. Even my husband, can you get yesterday? Can you get some cheese? When he got home, where's the cheese? You didn't. I said, I text you to get some cheese. Oh, you didn't text me again, or you didn't call me. Okay, you see, and he's my husband.
Yeah.
Repetition is important.
It's all about eye level. And
Yes.
And if a parent's like, well, I'm in a situation where I can't just walk out, talk to your kid in their ear. Before I had kids, I remember this lady at church. She would speak to and it doesn't matter the situation. She always speaks to her children in their ear. So you know, it doesn't embarrass them, you know, but she still shares whatever message she wants to with them. And right now, I know one's in middle school, one's in high school, you know, and I can see, you know, great kids, confidence, and you know, I think she built that relationship with them.
Important.
Yeah.
So that's fun. Now, how important is it for an infant or toddler to develop a secure relationship, a stable attachment with the parent or the parents? What happens when the attachment is not safe?
Well, a lot of things can happen. Well, some of the things that I can tell you is, like the first year, the first moments of life are so important because that's when the brain starts to develop, and also the language. And I think when secure attachment doesn't happen, later in life, we're going to see insecure kids, a lot of mental health issues. A lot of things can happen. But I think secure attachment will bring self-confidence. A child trusts a caregiver that, okay, if I'm upset or if I feel any kind of way, I can go to my parent, I can go to my mom, my dad, my caregiver. It doesn't matter who it is, a significant other, with trust that they're not going to yell at me, they're not going to be upset at me, they're going to be listening to me. It's like a secure heaven for them. Because I have something that I wanted to show you real quick, if I can't. Where is it? This is how we, you know, start our circle security, secure attachment. These two hands are us, parents, and we are the secure heaven for the children. And you see how the children is going to go and explore, but it's going to come back to you to do what? To maybe ask you questions, to maybe cry with you, to be mad at you. But because you established that secure attachment, it can come back to you. Some kids are not sure if when they're upset, they can go back to the mom or dad or caregiver because the secure attachment was not there.
I can see that. You know, with my mom, and my dad, I still go to them with advice. You know, if I don't understand something with my daughter or my son, I would always go back to my mom or dad. Mom or dad, how did you deal with this with me? Like, how did you, you had lots of patience. Like, how did you deal with it? You know, so I can see where that attachment is because I can go back to them.
Yeah.
And
And
ask
it
them.
also is the way I think as parents, caregivers, we acknowledge or not acknowledge the emotional needs. You know, emotional need can be a lot of things, but it's the way we respond to it. And to answer more your questions, also a child, an adult with insecure attachment can develop difficult with boundaries, distrust, let's see, social isolation, interpersonal difficulties. It can bring a lot of, I know you see a lot of in school, a lot of behaviors.
Yeah, and I can say that these, stages, the stages we're talking about, the first year of life, the first couple of years, are so important because, let's say I have my experience right now in middle school. We don't know what the child has gone through outside of school. We receive the child, and we're there, to teach them, to take care of them. But sometimes, we see behaviors, we see kids who don't want to participate, are not interested. And sometimes it has nothing to do with school. It's because something they were lacking when they were growing up. So I just want to emphasize, kids need love and attention. If you're like, oh my God, my child, give them love, give them attention. And to address your question, between, and I'm using my notes from Erickson's theory, between the ages of 1 and 3, they're developing their autonomy. They're learning to be independent. So for example, if your child is now interested in putting their outfit together and it looks, mismatched, chaotic, but they're so happy, that's what we should look at. My child puts that on, they're happy. Because if you don't, they're going to start doubting themselves. They start developing shame, guilt, oh, maybe I don't know, I'm not good enough. That sense of guilt. So, all those little things matter. If your child is happy with something and it's appropriate, like it's not going to put them in danger, let them. My daughter, her outfits, it's like you open the dryer and took out 3 different things and put them on. And she's like, Mommy, how do I look? And I'm like, great, because she's happy, and we go on our way. And that's why you see some kids out there, mismatch. You're like, what is going on? It's because your parents, are letting them happy. They're exploring. Yeah.
And also insecure attachment, it can cause deficit in the way we express our feelings. For example, you have kids, and I know you see that a lot. They don't even know how they feel. They don't even know how to tell you that they're upset, they're mad. They don't know. Why? Because they didn't have that secure attachment. And it's just the way we respond. We acknowledge. We have to acknowledge emotions every single day, every single minute. It's so important, so important. But sometimes if we are, we are busy, we work 2 and 3 jobs, we have a lot of responsibilities. When you have kids, I think we need to have, not 5 hours, 5 minutes every hour or every day, 5 minutes just for your child, to listen, to look. My son is 18, and sometimes I said, oh my God, I was putting him on the bus the other day for preschool, and he's 18 now. He's like, bye. Time goes so fast, so please acknowledge your kids' emotions. It's important.
Just a check-in,
Yes, a check-in.
Ask them about, their day. Sometimes they don't have much. Oh, it was fine.
Yep.
Did you read a book? Yeah, no. What did you eat for lunch? I don't remember. But you're still communicating with your child, and I can say now, I've been teaching, like I said, 12 years. It takes time to learn, one's craft. But I can say the past few years where I've been really trying to connect with my children, my students, show that I care, because I care about them. But maybe the way I was communicating with them before was like, you need to take a seat, you need to do this. Now it's more like, how was your weekend? What did you do yesterday? Kids want to know that you care about them.
Exactly.
You show them that you care about you've got their heart. You've got their attention. So sometimes they're acting up because they don't have that attention. Yeah.
Exactly. And one more thing that I want to say, we also talk about how secure attachment can bring more higher self-esteem, enjoy more happiness with the parents, feel less anger at the parents, solve problems on their own, and the list goes on and on and on and on and on. And this is proven I have a son. I'm a mom. I know it's true. I don't know if you guys can,
Yeah.
it's true. I think when we can listen to our children, emotions, and everything they have to say to us, it makes a big difference.
Yeah.
It
makes
does.
a
It
big
does.
difference.
My daughter, she likes to draw. She's really good.
Yeah, I've seen her artwork.
Yes.
It's really good.
And we went to this Eastbrook had a art gallery, and it was all like high schoolers, college, art like way up there. And she goes, "Oh, this is too professional for me." And I'm like, "No, Sienna, I think you can do it." So we went to Quester's Way, and at that moment they had a contest going on, art contest. I'm like, "Sienna, why don't you try it?" "I don't know, you know my daughter. She's very like, she's shy." And I'm like, "Sienna, let's do it." I bought her the canvas, and the topic of the contest was connection. And I'm like, "Sienna, think about something about connection. Do a rough draft, and then I'll get you all the supplies so you can draw it, paint it." And when she came back, she had a world with her in the middle in a walkway, and then flags. And I'm like, "Wow." She goes, "Oh no, it's silly." And I'm like, "No, Sienna, wow. Like, you have something here." "No, it's silly." I'm like, "No, Sienna." We got her the canvas. She drew it out. We helped her, I helped her out a little bit. And believe it or not, she won.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Her artwork was placed in Hartford, at the Capitol in Hartford, and then at Quester's.
Yeah.
And she got a
Wow.
citation in Connecticut. Yeah,
You
so-
worked her self-esteem. It
so
makes
I
a
see that.
difference.
Yeah, she's like, "I
Yeah.
did it." And I'm like, "Yes, you did. You got
Oh.
a citation." Like, so
That's great.
so it is very important.
Good job,
Yeah.
Mom.
Yeah, I was so happy.
That's good.
So-
That's good.
So, now I have heard Merari in school, and you too, many times to my preschooler, Liam, who's 5 now. The teacher kept always telling me, "Ma'am, use repetition at home. You do repetition." They understood that with him, he was a little, como es atrasado.
He was a little bit delayed in his
yes, because
intellectual
of
development.
Yes, and they understood that, but that's why they were on me about repetitive and repetitive and repetitive. And every single time I would pick him up, they're like, "We did this with him today, so make sure you continue it at home." And sometimes I would forget. I'm like, "Oh, come on, like, why do I have to continue that?" But then I understood why. So can you tell our viewers, why is repetitive so important for that first year and on?
Yeah.
I think, and I know maybe you have more information than me, but I think the first year is when the verbal language, the expressive and receptive start to develop, and also the brain start to develop. But I think if you do it as like, "Oh, you have to do this and that," do it as a story. Like, "What did you learn today?" "Oh, and what, tell me more," and stuff like that. I think repetition is important because it's something, I don't know how to explain in scientific words, but I think it's something with the brain. You remember everything you are, people repeat to you, remember. I don't know if you have another scientific word for that.
Well, I mean, there is evidence. I don't have the exact percentage, but when we listen for an hour, we only get like a certain percentage that we're
Yes.
going to remember. So we need repetition. And I'll give an example. Not everything we learn is through repetition. Some things we learn by, I can explain it to you. I learned that way. But for children, we want them to practice at home just to keep it fresh. So when they come the next day, they still have it like very present, because they go home, and if there's no like practice of what we did, sometimes it's like reset, like start from zero the next day. But that doesn't apply to everything.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's why I remember some kids, when they like to write music or if they like to sing, sometimes you make it into a song and people will remember, kids will remember. I'm like,
Yes.
what? Like the multiplication tables, 2 by 2, and I used to sing them, because if not, I couldn't remember them. So you have to look for something that your son has interest in, and I think it will work.
Yeah.
But,
So instead
you
of
know.
saying you have to memorize these 10 words, you create a story. Let's say if it's home, it's can. I walked home and I went to the kitchen and I opened a can. So when he repeats it, he'll say, oh yeah, the story. When I went home, I went to the kitchen. So if the words are home and can, he'll follow the story. Yeah.
Exactly.
Like clean.
Well, that's a good song.
They memorize it.
That's a good song.
But you know, also routine. When you start in preschool, I think repetition. What you do, you come from the bus, the teacher is waiting for you, you go inside, you put your backpack away, you wash your hands, you sit there on the carpet or sit down to have breakfast. Every day is the same thing. And I know you don't teach same things every day, but I think if you make it as a routine.
We have routines and procedures.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think that
They know what to expect.
Yeah. I think
Now, how about emotional behavior, like that repetition? Like, how do you, is there a routine that you have to set for their behavior? I'm not sure if I'm saying that.
Well, you mean like, are there set consequences?
Yes. Like,
Kids should know, like, like we talked about before, your kid is having, exhibiting some type of behavior, you want to speak with them. But, there are things that require discipline. So there needs to be, they need to know, if you do X, Y, and Z, break this rule, I'm taking this away from you. Or, because that's like probably the most painful thing when you take away. Like right now, the most used thing is watching videos, the phone. And it's like, it's painful for them. He's like, I'm going to take it away from you for, the rest of the night. It hurts them. So it's about having clear consequences for them, not like making something up every day. Because when they know what the consequences, it helps them refrain their decision making.
And they need to know that you're in charge. They need to know that, okay, even though I don't know what I'm feeling, I don't know why I'm mad, why I'm just crying out on top of my lungs, but mommy, daddy, caregiver is in charge. They know what to do. When a kid comes home or goes to school and they don't know what to expect, that can be a problem. That can be really like not organized. I think their feelings can be up and down like a roller coaster. That's why I think routines are so important. And if you're in charge, you need to show it by what? Having consequences, also rewards, and also be consistent.
Yeah.
Consistency is the key.
The kids want structure.
Yes.
Kids want structure. And for a while, if they roam, free, they'll like it for like, a little bit. And then they're like, they don't want that anymore. They want structure.
And also that I want to point out is we call bigger, stronger, wiser, and kind. What does that mean? It says, at the heart of secure attachment is a child's recognition that she or he has a parent who can be counted on to lovingly provide tenderness, comfort, guidance, protection during difficult times. So if your kids know that you're in charge, they feel safe. When we're not in charge, when we're all over the place, something is wrong. Something is wrong in my household. And sometimes they don't know what to expect. If mommy's going to be home when I get home, do I going to have food when I get home? That's why sometimes, and I don't know why I'm relating this, like in Wyndham, some kids were coming late from the bus and they were going to the classroom without breakfast. And that was a big issue because it was a big percentage, like negative behaviors were related to being hungry. So when I'm hungry, when you're hungry, can you be attentive?
No.
I'm like, I need something to eat. My stomach is grumbling. So they were trying to set the stage as, okay, if you come late from the bus, your teacher will have something in the classroom to feed you. And they were starting to see changes in behavior. You see? Because they need that something to, and they know one of the places they have secure food is where? School.
Yeah.
Breakfast and lunch and snack. And some teachers was like, no, you were late. Give them something to eat, and you will see. I asked my son, I think I did a research about this, and I asked my son, when you were hungry, how was your behavior? He's like, don't even go there. They were not listening at all.
When I don't have my coffee, my head's all over the place. I'm not happy, And I think it's the caffeine, but I understand.
So I think, a consistency and be in charge and have a routine, I think will help children.
Thank you for that. Thank you, Merari and Mariceli, for all this information. This topic we can just continue on and on because there's so much, this topic is so wide. There's so much information. And, and I want to let the viewers know that you're not alone. There's no perfect parent. We're learning every day. And if there's something that you're struggling with, that you don't know how to deal with, there's always that person next to you might be dealing with the same thing, and they might have even passed it and figured how, or so there's always somebody with ideas, suggestions, and there's resources. One of the resources, there's that website 211.
Yes, Infoline.
Infoline. There's a bunch of information that you can gather from there. So.
I was going to say just a great resource, if you can't remember all this information, is the school counselor. They are,
Yes.
they want the best for your child. So if you need something, they're there for you too.
Yes.
They can give you all the information in terms of resources available for you in your community. So reach out to the school counselor.
Oh, and even your pediatrician.
Yes.
That's how I got the birth to 3 with my son.
Also, United Services, you can maybe write the phone down, 860-456-2261. And also, they have a home-based program that we can give you more information if you need to. We'll give you my work phone number is 860-280-7486. All these programs are free and for our community.
Yes.
And I just want to say, very important, take care of yourself. Self-care.
We
Yes.
didn't talk about
Yeah, because I know I am working on that right now. Whether it's going out for a coffee, taking a walk, getting your nails done,
your hair.
Yes.
doing your hair. Just those little things, it's like a boost of energy. Like, I think it was 2 weeks ago, I'm like, I need to go do something. I went and got my hair done, and I was like,
Yes.
it seems silly, but we get burnt out, and that when we're burnt out, that's when we get to that
Yes.
extreme of we're not there full for our children.
And that's one of the positive parenting skills that you need to remember. Take care of yourself.
Yeah.
Self-care, very important.
It's very true. For my anniversary, my husband's like, would you like to go? And I'm like, I don't know. Just take me out, And we went to Boston, and we walked. That's all we did.
Yes.
We
great.
walked, and it was such a beautiful day. And, my kids asked me, Mom, you just went to walk? I'm like, yes, but it was so delivering.
Yeah.
Just that walk. So it's good, take a walk, breathe, and like Merari said, if you can't go to the mall and get your nails done, have your friend do it, have the person next to you do it for you.
Call somebody.
Call somebody. Always have that to-go person.
Yeah. Just that time to yourself,
Yes.
whatever it is.
Even if it's in the bathroom. Just
Lock the door. I'm going to be here for 30 minutes.
Yes.
Nice warm bath.
Have a special snack.
Yeah.
Yes, let your husband know, and even for the fathers, they have their, the moms. Yes, I think they carry more that I don't want to say burden, but that load. But even the fathers too, they deserve that breathable moment, even from our own, even from me. I have to say it, even from me.
Figure it out what works
Yes.
for you, for your
Yes,
partner.
yes.
Say, I need this. What do you need?
Even
And
for each other.
schedule it. Put it on the calendar, on the fridge.
Yes.
This day, I'm going to go do this. This day, because if you don't, you just let it pass. Because
And
experience,
remember,
let it go.
this is to benefit your family, your kids, your spouse, yourself. If you have a positive environment, great things
Yes.
are going to happen.
Yeah.
So then that's all for today. Join us again in October. Thank you.
Bye.